Year 1 and 2, welcome back to another week of our story, Fantastic Mr. Fox. Now, we have got 6 days of our story left. So we've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 5 days. And then we've got the last one. You'll unfortunately have to wait until the next Monday for it. So we've got 6 days left of our story. But if we have a look, we've got lots of chapters left. So these are all the chapters we have read so far. We're reading 9 and 10 today. So we have read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 so far. And we're reading 9 and 10. So we've got 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. Most days we're going to read 2 chapters, but some days we do read 1. So should we get started? First of all, let's have a look at what the chapters are called. The first one is called Mr. Fox Has a Plan. Ooh, so if he has a plan, I wonder if the plan will work. I wonder if he'll escape. And then the second chapter, Boggus's Chicken House, number 1. Ooh, well that doesn't give much away, does it? I'm not quite sure about that one yet. But Mr. Fox Has a Plan sounds like an exciting chapter. So let's get started. Mr. Fox has a plan. For 3 days and 3 nights, the waiting game went on. How long can a fox go without food or water? Boggus asked on the 3rd day. Not much longer now, Bean told him. He'll make a run for it soon. He'll have to. Bean was right. Down in the tunnel, the foxes were slowly but surely starving to death. If only we could have a tiny sip of water, said one of the small foxes. Oh, Dad, can't you do something? Couldn't we make a dash for it, Dad? We'd have a little bit of a chance, wouldn't we? No chance at all, snapped Mrs. Fox. I refuse to let you go up there and face those guns. I'd sooner stay down here and die in peace. So the foxes are pleading, they said, please, can we go up? We need some water. Isn't there a chance that we'll escape? And Mrs. Fox has put her foot down and she said, no chance. I'm not letting you go up there. Mr. Fox had not spoken in a long time. He had been sitting there quite still with his eyes closed, not even hearing what the other foxes were saying. Mrs. Fox knew that he was desperately trying to think of a way out. And now she looked at him. She saw him stir himself and get slowly to his feet. He looked back at his wife. There was a little spark of excitement dancing in his eyes. What is it, darling? Said Mrs. Fox quickly. I've had a bit of an idea, said Mr. Fox carefully. What? They cried. Oh, Dad, what is it? Come on, said Mrs. Fox. Tell us quickly. Well, said Mr. Fox. Then he stopped, and then he sighed, and he sadly shook his head. He sat down again. Oh, it's no good, he said. It won't work after all. Why not, Dad? Because it means more digging. And we aren't any of us strong enough for that after 3 days and nights without any food. So Mr. Fox thought he had a plan, but actually after thinking about it, he's thinking it's not that great a plan because we've been digging for a long time and there's been 3 days and 3 nights without any food that they're not strong enough. So they're saying that's not going to work. I wonder if we'll get another plan. Yes, we are, Dad, cried the small foxes, jumping up and running to their father. We can do it. You'll see if we can't. So can you? Mr. Fox looked at the 4 small foxes and he smiled. What fine children I have, he thought. They're starving to death and they haven't even had a drink for 3 days, but they're still undefeated. I must not let them down. Now, we're going to stop for a second. Let's have a look at this word, undefeated. Bit of a tricky word. So let's start off with taking the first bit off, and let's look at the root word, which is defeat. And then this has got the ending on. So what happens if you're defeated? If you're in a battle, the person that's defeated, they are the person that loses, aren't they? So if you're playing a a game and you're defeated, it means in the end that someone else has won, that you have lost. So they don't want to lose. So they are saying that the children look undefeated, which means that they have not lost yet. The children are willing to keep going. They want to win. They want to get out. So the children still look eager. They still want to go on with the plan. So that means they look undefeated. I suppose we could give it a try, he said. Let's go, Dad. Tell us what you want us to do. Slowly, Mrs. Fox got to her feet. She was suffering more than any of them from the lack of food and water. She was very weak. I'm so sorry, she said, but I don't think I'm going to be much help. You stay right there where you are, my darling, said Mr. Fox. We can handle this by ourselves. So the 4 children want to dig. Mr. Fox wants to dig, but unfortunately Mrs. Fox is very weak because she hasn't had anything to drink and eat. So she thinks she won't be much help. Let's see what's going to happen on the next page. Oh, a new chapter. So that was Mr. Fox's plan, but we didn't actually hear much about the plan, did we? We knew he had a plan, but he said it wouldn't work. So we're still very much in the dark about it. So let's see, maybe in chapter 10 we'll find out what the plan was. So it's called Boggis's Chicken House number 1. Strange title. Maybe we'll find out later why it's called this. This time we must go into a very special direction, said Mr. Fox, pointing sideways and downwards. So, he said, and his 4 children started to dig once again. They went to work much more slowly now, yet they kept it going with a great courage, which means they were really brave. Little by little, the tunnel began to grow. Dad, I wish you could tell us where we were going, said one of the children. So here they go. They're digging the tunnel. The children don't know where they're going, but they're going in a very specific direction, it said. So Mr. Fox knows where they're going. So, I've just thought that would link to the title. Boggis's Chicken House number 1. So where do you think they're going? Let's find out. Oh, it's really started to rain here. I dare not do that, said Mr. Fox, because this place I'm hoping to get us to is so marvellous that if I described it to you now, you would go crazy with excitement. And then if we fail to get there, which is very possible, you would die of disappointment. I don't want to raise your hopes too much, my darlings. So he won't tell them where it is because he's really, really excited about it. He doesn't want to make them too excited in case they don't get there. For a long time they kept on digging. For how long they did not know, because there was no days and no nights down in that murky tunnel. But at last Mr. Fox gave the order to stop. I think, he said, we'd better take a peep upstairs now and see where we are. I know where I want to be, but I can't possibly be sure we're anywhere near it. So he thinks they're there, but he's not sure. Slowly, wearily, because they're really tired, the foxes began to slope up the tunnel towards the surface. Up and up it went until they came to something hard above their heads, and they couldn't go on any further. Mr. Fox reached up to examine the hard thing. It's wood, he whispered. It's wooden planks. What does that mean, Dad? It means, unless I'm very much mistaken, that we are right underneath somebody's house, whispered Mr. Fox. Be very quiet now as I take a peek. So Mr. Fox is going up, but he's not going to let anyone else, and they have to be very quiet because he doesn't want to get seen. Carefully, Mr. Fox began pushing one of the floorboards. The board creaked most terribly, and they all ducked down, waiting for something awful to happen. But nothing did. So Mr. Fox pushed up the second board, and then, very, very cautiously, which means very, very carefully, he poked his head up through the gap and he let out a shriek of excitement. So he's really, really excited. He's let out a shriek of excitement. Do you think he's where he wants to be? Yes, I think he's exactly where he wants to be. So let's see if we were right, and let's see where he is. I've done it, he yelled. I've done it. First time. I've done it. I've done it. He pulled himself through the gap in the floor and started prancing and dancing with joy. Come on up, he sang out. Come on up and see where you are, my darlings. What a sight for a hungry fox. Alleluia! Hooray! Hooray! The 4 small foxes scrambled up out of the tunnel. What a fantastic sight it was that met their eyes. They were in a huge shed and the whole place was teeming, which means was filled with chickens. There were white chickens, brown chickens, black chickens by the thousands. So not just hundreds, bigger than hundreds, thousands. Boggis's chicken house number 1, cried Mr. Fox. Oh, so we were right. That was why the chapter was called that. It's exactly what I was aiming for. I hit it slap bang in the middle, first time. Isn't that fantastic? And if so, may I say, rather clever. So Mr. Fox, have a look. He is feeling very, very pleased with himself. He's very excited. He thinks what he did is fantastic and rather clever. And you know what? I think he is too. The small foxes went wild with excitement. They all started running around in all directions, chasing the stupid chickens. Wait, ordered Mr. Fox. Don't lose your heads. Stand back. Calm down. Let's do this properly. First of all, everyone have a drink of water. They all ran over to the chicken's drinking trough and they lapped up some lovely cool water. Then Mr. Fox chose 3 plumpest hens, which means the 3 fattest hens that got more meat on them. With clever flick of his jaws, he killed them instantly. Back to the tunnel, he ordered. Come on. So the foxes are safe. They haven't got discovered yet. They've had a drink. They're going to have something to eat. We've got 1 more page left. And let's see what happens. Fooling around. The quicker you move, the quicker you shall have something to eat. One after another they climbed down through the hole in the floor. Soon they were standing once again in the dark tunnel. Mr. Fox reached up and pulled the floorboards back into place. He did this with great care. He did it so no one would ever tell it had been moved. My son, he said, giving 3 plump hens to the biggest of the 4 chickens. Run back with these to your mother. Tell her to prepare a feast. Tell her that the rest of us will be along in a jiffy as soon as we have made a few other little arrangements. So that's the end of our chapter today. Have a look. Mr. Fox has given all the chickens to his oldest son, and he said to go back and give them to his mother. And it has here a few other arrangements. What do you think that means? Well, so there was 4 of the children and Mr. Fox, but one of the children, the biggest one, went back to the mother. So there's 4 of them left and they need to make other arrangements. What do you think that means? Well, the word arrangements, it means that they're going to make other plans. Mr. Fox is going to think of some more things because they can't go back down to the tunnel where they were originally because it's not safe there. So Mr. Fox is going to make other plans, and I think he is going to see if he can carry out some of those plans. But I don't know what the plans could be. This is a bit of a tricky one, isn't it? Well, I really enjoyed today's chapters, and I'm really, really glad that the foxes are safe and that they've had a drink and that they will very soon have something to eat. So for the time being, phew, the foxes are safe. But I don't know what's going to happen next. Let's see what happens tomorrow. See you on Tuesday, everybody. Bye.